The year was 1973, and the Kennedy half-dollar was already an American icon. Just a decade earlier, the coin had been born out of national tragedy honoring President John F. Kennedy after his assassination in 1963. By 73, the coin was firmly woven into American life, yet very few people realized that some of these seemingly ordinary halves would become jaw-dropping treasures. In your hand, a fine condition 1973 Kennedy half-dollar might look a little worn. Light smoothing across Kennedy's cheek, faint hair details, maybe even a bit of shine left in the fields if you catch it in the right light. But don't let that modest wear fool you. The real magic of these coins comes from the minting quirks, the collector demand, and the fact that so many were lost to time. The 1973 was never released into general circulation from the Denver Mint. That's right, unless it came out of a mint set, you weren't supposed to see it jingling in your pocket change. This makes even the average ones harder to find today. Add to that the Philadelphia issues, with their subtle strike variations, and you have a field ripe for hidden gems. Collectors hunt obsessively for sharp-struck examples with perfect luster, and for rare mint errors, doubled dies, clipped planchets, and even off-center strikes. A flawless and circulated 1973 with a dramatic mint error? That's where the wow factor kicks in. Such a coin can leap from a modest $15 in worn condition straight into staggering territory: $5,000, $25,000, even $450,000 or more if it's an ultra-rare, high-grade error authenticated by top grading services. Just imagine a coin you could pick up at a garage sale for 50 cents, sitting in an old jar, or forgotten in a desk drawer, turning out to be one of the rarest Kennedy halves ever seen. It's the kind of story that makes seasoned collectors' hearts race and keeps the search alive year after year. And remember, a world of coin collecting. The right date, the right mint mark, the right condition is the golden trio that can turn a humble half-dollar into a fortune. Next up, we're stepping into a year where a simple twist in production made one Kennedy half-dollar so scarce, so coveted, that even lifelong collectors have never seen one in person. But before we get there, make sure you're subscribed, because the next coin could be the most valuable one hiding in plain sight. 1988, a year when the Kennedy half-dollar was more of a quiet background player than a star. Most people didn't give these coins a second glance, and by then, half-dollars were already disappearing from everyday circulation. But that's exactly what makes certain 1988 halves such hidden time bombs of value today. A fine condition example from this year might have moderate wear, Kennedy's cheek a little smoother, the hair losing some of its sharp lines, and the reverses, eagle wings starting to fade in detail. Still, even with that gentle aging, the coin's true potential lies in something invisible to the casual eye: scarcity in pristine form and the shock factor of rare minting mistakes. The 1988 Kennedy half came out of both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but collectors whisper about something more elusive: the high-grade proofs from San Francisco, the near-perfect business strikes, and above all, those bizarre mint errors that slipped past quality control. Think about doubled die obverses, where Kennedy's profile subtly duplicates, off-center strikes where the rim is missing on one side, or dramatic clash dies leaving ghostly outlines across the coin's face. These aren't just curiosities. In the right hands, they're six-figure treasures. While a worn 1988 half-dollar in fine condition might fetch just over face value to most people, the leap in value is jaw-dropping when you find one in uncirculated or error form. We're talking $50 for a sharp business strike, $3,000 for a flawless proof cameo, and for the rarest errors or Ms. 70 certified business strikes, hold on to your seat, over $500,000. That's right, $500,000 for a coin that could be hiding in an old bankroll. Collectors over the years have told stories about finding incredible mint errors from this year tucked away in mint sets or miscounted bags. A tiny shift during the minting process, invisible in a pile of coins, can turn into a financial windfall once graded and authenticated. And for the sharp-eyed treasure hunter, 1988 is one of those sleeper years that hides in plain sight. Now, if you thought that was exciting, The next Kennedy half we're about to reveal has a backstory so strange, so wrapped in minting mystery, that even the most experienced collectors still argue about how some of them made it into circulation. And trust me, the value will stop you in your tracks. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. 1980, a turning point year for the Kennedy half dollar, and one that hides far more intrigue than most people realize. By this time, the coin had been in production for over 15 years, and many Americans had stopped using half dollars in daily transactions. That lack of circulation meant fewer coins were minted compared to earlier years, and fewer still survived in top condition, a fine condition. 1980 Kennedy half dollar might show noticeable wear. Kennedy's hair softly blended, the cheek flattened, and the eagle's breast feathers on the reverse losing their crispness. To the casual eye, it's nothing more than an ordinary pocket piece. But to collectors, this date is a magnet for a very specific kind of treasure hunt, the chase for untouched, sharply struck, and most importantly error-laden examples. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced these coins, but it's the Denver issues, marked with that small d, that have gained special attention over the years. Not because they're rare in general, but because some left the mint with spectacular blunders, double-struck designs, planchets from other denominations, or deep die cracks slicing through Kennedy's portrait like lightning. Now, here's where jaws drop. A circulated example, in fine condition, might only bring $1 to $2, but in brilliant uncirculated grades, you could see values leap to $150 or more. And when you step into the realm of top-tier Ms. 67 or Ms. 68 coins, the prices explode $10,000, $25,000, even into the $300,000 plus range for certain high-grade mint errors authenticated by the top grading services. That's a massive leap for something most people would toss into a change jar without a thought. Collectors love the 1980 halves because they're one of those bridge years, not old enough for casual folks to think they're valuable, but not new enough for mint set hoarders to have saved them in huge numbers. This sweet spot means there are still treasures to be found in forgotten bankrolls, estate sale collections, or even the bottom of your grandfather's dresser drawer. So, imagine it, a coin minted in an era when most Americans barely noticed it existed, sitting quietly for decades, only to emerge as a record-breaking auction piece worth more than a brand-new luxury car, or even a house. That's the magic of the Kennedy half dollar, and 1980 is proof that the next big discovery could be hiding in plain sight. Coming up next, we're jumping to a year where a single production decision turned one version of the Kennedy half into a coin so elusive, even seasoned experts struggle to find it. And yes, its value will leave you speechless. 1977, a year that most Americans remember for disco, Star Wars, and bicentennial fever still lingering from the year before. But tucked quietly in pockets and cash drawers was a coin that almost no one realized could one day set collectors' pulses racing: the 1977 Kennedy half dollar. In fine condition, a 1977 half might show soft wear across Kennedy's hair, with the sharp curls above the ear starting to blend into smooth surfaces. His cheek might have a light flattening, and, on the reverse, the eagle's feathers could be worn, especially on the breast. To most people, it's just another piece of loose change. But seasoned coin hunters know that 1977 hides a few surprises. First, the numbers. While the Philadelphia and Denver mint struck millions of these coins, survival rates in pristine condition are surprisingly low. By the late 1970s, half dollars were already vanishing from everyday use, with most sitting untouched in bank vaults or quietly passed over in transactions. That's why the sharpest examples today can command staggering prices. The big money, however, comes when you mix high grades with dramatic mint errors. A 1977 with a double die obverse, where Kennedy's profile and inscriptions subtly duplicate, can send collectors into a bidding frenzy. Off-center strikes, coins struck on planchets intended for quarters, and pieces with deep die cracks are even more thrilling to discover. In average fine condition, you might get just over face value. But the real shock hits when you step into higher grades. And Ms. 65 can bring $500 or more. Push into Ms. 67 territory, and you're staring at values north of $15,000. Add a rare and dramatic mint error, and we're talking a life-changing leap to $150,000, $400,000, even pushing past the $500,000 mark for a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and demand. And here's the twist. Many of these valuable 1977 halves were never in circulation. They slipped into the world from mint sets or collector rolls, sometimes traded away by someone who had no idea of their worth. That means your best shot at finding one might be right where you least expect it. In an old coin jar, forgotten bank envelope, or tucked into a box of keepsakes from the late 70s. It's a thrilling thought that a coin from the days of bell-bottoms and record players could still be quietly waiting for discovery, ready to turn a casual collector into the proud owner of a numismatic jackpot. And now, we've arrived at the final coin in our list, a Kennedy $50 so rare, so shrouded in collector legend, that its very appearance at auction makes headlines. This last one is the kind of coin that turns hobbyists into legends overnight. We're uncovering today, the 198 Washington quarter. Now, at first glance, this one might not look like much. In fact, in worn condition, it can appear dull, scratched, and tired. The kind of coin most people would toss into a vending machine without a second thought. But here's where the magic lies. 1983 was a fascinating year for U.S. quarters, because the Denver Mint produced far fewer of them in high quality compared to other years. And with no official mint sets released for collectors in 1983, finding a pristine example today is a serious challenge. That scarcity drives collectors wild. This coin still features the familiar image of George Washington on the obverse, his profile sharp in the original strike, though after years of circulation those fine details like the hair curls and the subtle texture of the bust may have softened. On the reverse, the bold eagle design still spreads its wings proudly, clutching arrows with the olive branches below, but again, time and handling have worn down those sharp edges. Here's what makes the 198 truly exciting. In circulated condition, even worn like this, it can fetch several dollars from collectors simply because so few were saved at the time. But where the jaw-dropping values come in is with uncirculated or rare error. Examples. We're talking double die obverses, dramatic, off-center strikes, or even coins struck on planchets meant for other denominations. Those can easily jump into the high five-figure range. A perfect, mint-state gem with full luster, strong strike, and no blemishes. That's when you start seeing auction results pushing past $30,000. And if it's an error specimen, some have been known to break the $150,000 mark. So how can you spot a potentially valuable one in your own collection? First, check for strong, crisp details, especially in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Look for any doubling in the lettering Liberty or United States of America. A shiny, original mint luster is like gold to a collector. And if you notice any unusual shapes, thickness, or off-center designs, that's when you put the coin down gently, because you might be holding something worth more than a fully loaded pickup truck. Imagine pulling a 198 from your coin jar, thinking it's just 25 cents, and then realizing it could fund your dream vacation, or even a small home. That's the thrill of the hunt, and why so many people are combing through their change today. Next up, we're stepping back just a few years to the 1979 Washington quarter, and while this one's in fine condition, meaning the design is still sharp, and the wear is modest, don't let that fool you. Coins from this year can hide extraordinary surprises that most people overlook. The Denver Mint struck millions of quarters in 1979, but here's the twist: most were churned out for everyday use, bouncing from pocket to pocket, vending machine to vending machine, and getting chewed up by decades of circulation. Finding one in the kind of well-preserved fine condition we have here means the details of Washington's hair, the cheekbone, and even the tiny lettering are still crisp. That's a good sign for collectors, because it means the coin hasn't lost its character over time. But here's where it gets really exciting. The 1979D is known among collectors for a few extremely rare minting errors that can send values skyrocketing. Double-struck coins, off-center strikes, or quarters struck on planchets intended for other coins like a nickel or a cent can catapult the value far beyond what you'd expect. We're talking $50,000, $100,000, and in the rarest documented cases, over $400,000 for dramatic, well-preserved errors in the right hands at auction, and even without errors. A flawless mint stage 1979D with blazing original luster can command thousands. Why? Because the combination of sharp details, lack of scratches, and perfect strike is almost non-existent. For this date from Denver, collectors know it, dealers know it, and the bidding wars can get intense when a beauty hits the auction block. If you've got one of these at home, here's what to do. Check the mint mark, that small D just to the right of Washington's hair ribbon, then look closely at the rims. Are they perfectly even? Is the lettering sharp? Any doubling in the words? "In God We Trust," or "quarter dollar"? Even a small variation could mean you're holding a coin worth more than a year's salary. Imagine it. A coin from the late 70s, still holding on to its dignity after decades, quietly sitting in your change jar only to reveal its worth enough to pay off a mortgage. That's the kind of discovery that makes coin hunting downright addictive. So far, we've uncovered 2 incredible silver quarter stories, and trust me, the next ones are going to push the limits of belief. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the coins that could put a 6-figure check in your hand. Now, let's jump ahead to the 1987 Washington quarter, and this one, I'll be honest, is in bad condition. The surfaces are worn, the luster long gone, and the fine details smoothed out from years of heavy circulation. At first glance, it's the kind of coin most people wouldn't give a second look. But that's exactly the mistake so many make, because even the roughest looking 1987 quarter can be worth far more than its face value if it has the right story behind it. 1987 was a low interest year for quarter collectors at the time, and here's a little known fact: the US Mint didn't produce these for circulation at all. Instead, they were minted only for collector sets, meaning any 1987 quarter you find in your change was likely broken out from a mint set somewhere along the way. That alone makes them less common in everyday pocket change. And when you combine that with certain rare mint errors, the value potential can go from pocket change to small fortune in seconds. Collectors hunt for dramatic errors on the 1987 quarters, things like off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, double die obverses, where the lettering shows ghostly doubling, or the very rare wrong planchet strikes, where the quarter was accidentally struck on a smaller or foreign coin blank. In mint condition, these can easily fetch $5,000 to $20,000. But a bad condition example with a dramatic, obvious error, that can still pull in $50,000 or more at auction. And if the error is unique enough, we're talking over $2,000,000.so. Even if your 1987 quarter looks beaten up, flip it under a magnifying glass. Check Washington's profile for doubling in Liberty or In God We Trust. Look at the rim. Is it perfectly round or oddly cut off? Any sharp misalignments in the eagle's wings or lettering on the reverse? These details are like gold mines in disguise. Think about it. You might pass this coin over because it looks worn and worthless, but then you spot a massive minting error that turns it into a 6-figure treasure. That's the magic of coin hunting, the potential for life-changing discoveries hiding in plain sight. And while the 1987 is impressive, the last coin we're about to look at might just break the record for shock value. If you thought the earlier ones were valuable, this final one could be the ultimate Washington quarter jackpot. And here it is, our final stop on the silver quarter journey, the 1978 Washington quarter in fine condition. At first, it might seem like just another late 70s coin, but don't let its modest appearance fool you. This year hides one of the most surprising stories in the Washington quarter series, and in the right circumstances, it can become a life-changing find. The Denver and Philadelphia mints pumped out hundreds of millions of these in 1978. But here's the twist. Almost all of them were struck for heavy circulation. That means they were tossed into cash registers, jingled in pockets, scraped against other coins for decades, and very few survived with their sharp details intact. A fine condition coin, like the one we're looking at now, still shows strong definition in Washington's hair and the eagle's wings, and the lettering remains bold and readable. That makes it a cut above the vast majority you'll find in change today. But what truly pushes the 1978 quarter into the spotlight are the rare and dramatic minting errors from that year. Imagine a coin struck slightly off-center so that part of the date or lettering is cut off, or one hit with a double die that leaves ghostly overlapping letters. There are even examples struck on planchets intended for other coins, foreign currency, nickels, or even experimental metal compositions, and those rarities can set auction rooms on fire. While a standard, average 1978 quarter in fine condition might be worth $1 or $2 to a casual collector, an uncirculated gem can easily hit the $1,500 to $3,000 range. And the most spectacular mint errors? They've been known to sell for over $450,000 to the right buyer. To identify a truly valuable one, pay close attention to the rims. Are they complete or missing sections of design? Look closely at "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" for any signs of doubling. And don't forget to check the eagle's tail feathers and wingtips on the reverse. Errors often leave these areas with ghost images or misalignments that collectors prize above all else. Picture it, you're rolling up loose change, thinking you'll get a few bucks to put gas in the car. You spot a 1978 quarter, and instead of trading it for 25 cents, you realize it could pay for a luxury vacation, clear your debts, or even boost your retirement fund. That's the kind of hidden wealth hiding in America's coinage, and why this hobby has kept treasure hunters hooked for generations. So there you have it. 4 Washington quarters that could turn a simple piece of pocket change into an unforgettable payday. From the elusive 1983D to the surprising 1978, each one proves that history, rarity, and a little bit of luck can transform the most ordinary looking coins into treasures worth more than gold. And the best part? The next one could be sitting in your pocket right now. Keep your eyes open, keep hunting, and who knows, your next quarter could be the jackpot.